Well, I had the opportunity to visit some women who have been to the Barefoot College and are back in Madagascar now, just 2 weeks ago. And it was really surprising how happy they were about their training in India. Well, it's not necessarily easy to go for 6 months to India when you have never really left your village or your region. And they were really transformed, and they're really willing to go ahead and to install the solar PV systems, and they were quite proud. Their situation has changed in the villages. They are seen as very important people now who can bring the change, and they also act like that, and that was fascinating. I think it takes a lot of courage to overcome the language issues, to go to India, to take a plane for the first time. But I think they have zero regrets about what they have done. And you can see the dynamics in the village and the people wanting to have access to electricity and to lights. You can feel that people need it, and they depend on kerosene right now. And the fact that the local communities are bringing the solutions to them through these women makes a big difference, because sometimes culturally it's difficult to change. It's true for cooking stoves. If you go for efficient stoves, it's difficult for some people. They think that the food is tasting differently. For solar electricity, it's also a big change compared to kerosene. And I think the more we work with these local communities, the more we make them actors of change, the easier it will be to change what is seen sometimes as culturally not necessarily obvious. So our vision is indeed that there will be energy for all, sustainable energy for all, and so it will be mainly renewables. And we work on this issue in the field of policy and in the field of projects. The idea is really to inspire policymakers to see what can be done with local communities that don't necessarily have a higher education, but that can contribute to access to electricity. They can be the main players for this. And for us, that's a very important message for policymakers, because sometimes the role of communities is underestimated in the field of access to energy. This is a very strong message. People who cannot read or write can actually do the maintenance and install solar systems, solar PV systems. And so once these projects are up and running, we can show that to policymakers, even ministers. And they're very much intrigued usually by these projects, and they really start thinking, what can we do in our country? Can we develop schools like there are schools in India with the Barefoot College? So that's what we want to get in the end. We want to have policymakers thinking, what can we do in our country to scale this up? And then I think we will have played our role. And this is really a way to demonstrate, yes, 100% access to electricity and to sustainable energy is possible, and yes, local communities can contribute to this. I think the time is right for this now, for access to sustainable energy and for renewable energy in general. The prices have come down tremendously for solar and wind. Fossil fuels look actually expensive when it comes to rural electrification now compared to other solutions that are renewable. So I think it is time now to change the debate in many African countries where the debate is still about fossil fuels and hydropower. There are other solutions out there, and they're really happening now. So it is time to think creatively about how access to electricity can happen in the future.